Hi YouTube, Timothy Unkert from unkertmedia.com here. In this video, I want to talk about conditionals and logical operators in Ruby. So let's get started. I'm going to create a file and I'm going to call it 014a 014a underscore conditionals .rb for a Ruby file. Okay. And let me close out the sidebar here. And let's get started. So first off, I want to talk about the basic structure of a if statement in Ruby. So we're going to have if, keyword if, and then some condition. Okay, so it's some condition, not in parentheses really. So we don't need the parentheses. So let's just say some condition, and then we have an end statement, and then we have the code that runs if the if statement is true, okay? Or if the conditional is true. that's what I should be saying. Let me just get rid of that. But if the conditional, don't know why I put that in quotes, but or if the condition. Anyways, so let's actually see this in action. So I'm going to make a condition that is most definitely true. So let's say 9, and we'll do a double equals. And this is, a comparison operator. So it's saying, is 9 equal to 9? Well, yes, of course it is. And so we're going to run some code. Obviously, 9 is equal to 9. So we'll just print out, thank you, Captain Obvious. Okay. And now I'm going to run the code. I'm going to show you how to run it in a terminal because my IDE is being a little goofy and shutting down on me when I try and run it. Might be because of the recording. Anyway, so to run this in the terminal, I'm going to do Ruby and then the name of the file, which is 014a. I'm going to start to type it and hit a tab to autocomplete it. Yes, I got it. I don't need that. And then I'm just going to hit enter. And you'll see here it prints out, thank you, Captain Obvious. Okay. All right. So that's an if statement. We also have a basic structure of an if-else statement. So basic structure of an if-else statement. Okay, so I could do something like if true, and then I'll also have an else. Now, obviously, the if true conditional is going to run. So we'll just do a printout. We'll say this is true. And we'll do something here. We'll do puts. This is false. Okay. And I'll run this via the terminal. I can just hit the up arrow to get my previous command that I ran in the terminal. And we see, thank you, Captain Obvious. And then this is true. Okay. Let's move this up a little bit. Okay. All right. So that's an if-else statement. We can also create a variable and use this. So let's have a variable. We'll call it isProgrammer, and we'll set that equal to true. So this is a Boolean with the value true. Okay, and we do iffy. That's a shortcut. I'm actually using IntelliJ right now, but if you use RubyMine or IntelliJ with the Ruby plugin, you can do IFE and hit tab, and it gives you the if-else end basic code layout. So that's a nice little shortcut. I thought I'd show it to you. All right, so I'm going to say is programmer. So if this is true, then the if statement will run, and we'll print out you are a programmer. If it's not true, we'll print out you are not a programmer. Okay. So let's run this again. And we see you are a programmer. Cool. All right. Okay. So that's an if-else conditional. let's create a few other conditions here. Let's create is math teacher, and we'll set that equal to true. And we'll also do is no job. We'll set that equal to false. Okay. So I do have a job. So I'm going to say if is programmer. Now let me show you something. So I'm going to do this shortcut here, but I'm also going to add, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to type an else if. So I'm going to do else if, okay? And I'll do another else if. And notice we're skipping the E here, okay? We're getting some warnings because we've got to fill some stuff in. So if is programmer is true, then it's going to just run this code and it's going to skip everything else. Remember, is programmer is true. So we'll say you are a programmer. And then we'll do else if is math teacher. And we're going to do, remember that's true as well. You are a math teacher, okay? And then we'll do an else if is no job. And then we'll do something like you have no job. Okay, and then we'll do another print statement here. We'll say we are not sure of your employment status. Let me spell that right. Employment status. Okay. All right, so let's run this. Now, because this is true, just see what happens when I run it. So I'm going to open up the terminal. We'll rerun it again. And we see you are a programmer is our last line. We don't get you are a math teacher because even though is math teacher equals true, excuse me, because the is programmer is true, it only runs this code and it skips all the rest, okay? So what I could do is, because is programmer is true, I could put this in front. This is a not operator. So if this is not true, then this will run. So it actually should print out you are a math teacher now. So let's open up the terminal. Let's rerun, and we see the last line, you are a math teacher. We're getting you are a programmer from this other conditional up here, if is programmer, okay? So that's a little bit about conditionals. Now let's talk about logical operators. Okay, so I'm going to create another file, and this file I'm going to call 015. I don't know why I went with the A. I thought I'd have a little bit more with conditionals, but I didn't. So we're just going to jump to 015 because I'm following along with my repo on GitHub. You can check that out. I'll leave a link in the description, maybe, if I remember. Probably not, actually. Anyway, so 15 logical operators.rb, and now let's close out the sidebar here. And so we'll create some Booleans up top. So let's declare and initialize some Booleans. Okay, so we'll see here is underscore programmer equals true, is math teacher also equals true, is, let's put jobless equals false. Okay, so now let's use and. Okay, so we're going to create a conditional, but it's only true if two things are true. So we'll say if is programmer and is math teacher, then we'll do something. We'll print out you are a programmer and a math teacher. Okay. We'll also have an else if, and we'll say else if is math teacher and is jobless. Well, then we'll print something out. We'll do you are a math teacher, but you have no job. You could be an unemployed math teacher, I suppose. All right, and then we'll also have another else if, and this time, spelled it wrong there, else if is programmer and is jobless. We'll do a puts. You are an unemployed math teacher, or no, unemployed programmer, which unfortunately in this economy could be true. And then, yeah, and we'll not do an else, okay? We don't need to have an else in there. So let's run this and see if you can figure out which code is going to run. Will this code run first? Will this code run? Or will this code run? Okay, so let's do Control T as my shortcut for the terminal. You don't really need to know that, but figured I'd share. We'll run the command again. And we see here, it prints out, whoops, we ran the previous file. Okay, so I need to do this file. So I'm going to do Ruby 015 because I just hit the up key, hit tab to autocomplete it, and we get you are a programmer and a math teacher. Okay, so the top code here ran, all right? Now, we can do this. Let's do, if the is programmer is false and is math teacher is true, then this will run. Else if is math teacher and is jobless, this will run. And then this will run if your is programmer and is jobless, okay? So let's go ahead. Now I can hit the up arrow. And we'll see it runs, but nothing prints out. Well, why is that? Well, because is jobless is false. So is math teacher is true, and is jobless, well, this is not true. So this whole thing is not true. So we don't get this. Likewise, is programmer, well, that's true, but combining it with is jobless, that's false, so it makes the whole thing false. So nothing prints out. So now I'm going to change this to or, okay? And let's see what happens now, which prints out. Okay, so up arrow to run the previous command. You are a math teacher but have no job, okay? So this bit of code ran because is math teacher is true, is jobless is false. So it's if either one of these is true, it will run. Now if I combine this to and this down here to or, let's see if you can figure out what will run, okay? So we're going to do Control T and then do the up arrow, and we see you are an unemployed programmer, okay? So the last bit of code ran because is programmer is true, right up here. Is jobless is false, but since is programmer is true and we have this or statement, this runs, okay? Let's also talk about the not logical operator. So we can say something like if, and we can type the word not is jobless, then we'll print out you have a job, okay? Now notice my IDE is giving me a hint here. If I hover over this, it says negative condition and control flow statements. It doesn't like that, but we can run it nonetheless. Will it print out you have a job? Let's see. Let's open up the terminal. And we're looking for the last line to run here. Even though it says you're an unemployed programmer up here, it does run you have a job, okay? So this is saying if not true, so another way to think about it is if false, and is jobless is false, remember, we go up here, false, then this line of code runs, okay? Likewise, we could do it another way. We could do it with the exclamation point and then do is jobless and then puts you definitely have a job. Just make it different. Okay, and so now we can run this again and we see you definitely have a job down here, okay? So that's another way of doing it. If we hover over this, we also get the negative condition in control flow statement. My IDE is giving me a hint. Let's do Alt-Shift-Enter here to do the bit of code. Unless is jobless. Okay, so that's another way we can do it. So we can also do this unless this is true. Do this. Okay, so let's try it this time. All right, so we'll clear this out and rerun, and we see that that works as well. You definitely have a job. Okay, so we can use this unless keyword as well. That's pretty much it for what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, could you please give it a like, as it will help get out to more people? And also consider subscribing to the channel, as it really does help the channel grow. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.